Hello everyone and welcome to today's STPL. I know I said I'm in a good mood in the tweet and I'll explain that in a little bit when more people are here, but it's a good thing that's happened in Parliament for the first time in about 2 years. So let's just move the camera up just a little bit. Although the trouble is I need to find a way of sitting properly, or at least moving my camera so I get the shirt in as well. It's all the branding, you know. But either way, we're here for another day of hopefully exciting STPL action. Now this is going to be a very important first series because depending on the outcome of this, it could decide exactly how the end of round 4 is going to go for two of our teams. Now if we actually have a look at the Group A rankings, you'll see why. So as you can see in Group A, we've got IRK and NaS currently undefeated in their round 4 run so far. We're going to see two of the teams here, NaS and NetWars, both in 2nd and 3rd position. Now if NetWars cannot take down NaS here and NaS go undefeated again, much like IRK, then they are guaranteed to be through. Now, IRK and NaS have done an incredible job so far in the STPL round 4. You can see even their game win rates is just insane. But one thing to point out is if NetWars can take down NaS, they will be tied at 3-1. Obviously, NaS will have the advantage in the game difference, so that's what that 3rd column is there. You can see that NetWars have actually gone 7 for 6. But it also puts them safely ahead of White Clan as well, who this round have actually struggled quite a lot. I mean, you can see they're down at 2-2 at the moment, and just things haven't really been going their way. Now, obviously, we're going to be heading into our first matchup here. Now, the thing about this matchup, this isn't the right matchup table, here we go, is NetWars have been an incredibly strong team. They've come 2nd in both round 2 and 3, and they came 3rd in round 1 after beating DM in the playoff semi-finals. And Ash vs Red is going to be on Friday, so I wanted to save that one till last because we've got that day we're going to do FBW versus Rev as well, and they've got Ambi versus TT1. So yeah, I thought I'd do it then. But both these teams incredibly strong. NaS have actually made it to the playoffs once. They didn't make it there in round... Just trying to remember, did they make it in round 2? I basically need to make sure, one of the things I'm going to work on over the next couple of weeks is adding some little trophies or medals or something so you can tell where people are. But we've got a good set of matches here regardless. Let's actually have a look at exactly who. Oh, actually, let's have a look at the maps first. So, starting us off on set 1, we're going to have Holy World SE. Set 2 is going to be our 2-player map of today. It's going to be on New Bloody Ridge. Set 3 is going to be on Eye of the Storm, our 2nd 4-player map. Set 4 on our 3-player map today, Great Barrier Reef. And if we make it there, set 5, the ace match, is going to be here on Fortress SE. Now to have a quick look at who's going to be playing, let's quickly throw it on over to today's rosters and then we can have a look at who we think is going to be the key match. Now for game number 1, we're going to have a TVP between Ziggy and Dragon. We're going to move on to a PvZ between Bonneth and Eon Zerg, which is probably the key match. A ZVP between Kingpin and Sugo. Then unfortunately game 4 was a walkover. I'm not going to say which team it was in favour of, but we will not have True Touch versus Terror, unfortunately. I know someone was screaming for True Touch in the chat, and it's a little bit unfortunate. But if you're wondering where Rapid is, he is currently in Ukraine casting the WESG StarCraft 2 tournament. He looks like he's having a fun time. I haven't been able to catch any of the games myself because they're all on when I'm at work, but all the clips I've sent of him, he seems to be enjoying himself. That's the main thing. Let's have a look. One thing I need to show off, and one thing that I want to thank Ratley for as well, and I know, how can I not have it? It's not fair. It really isn't fair. It would have been a really sick matchup. but it was a walkover. One of the players didn't show off, unfortunately. But we've got the yellow system now, so let's show off that. Huge thank you to Radley in the chat for making this possible. Now, top 10 looked a little bit different before. We had DeWalt and Yeti at the top of the scoreboard, but now with the yellows, which is going to be that second column there next to the names, you can see exactly how that's changed. So, we've got Noob at the top. He has the highest ELO out of everyone. Then we've got Koget, Ho, Eonzerg, Yeti still near the top as well. So even though some people are saying that he was only near the top 10 because he was beating players worse than him, his ELO proves that he is in fact a strong player. Just above Scan, Terra, TT1, Famasi, and Yes Man. So that's kind of sick. Like, it's pretty amazing that we've got to this point and we've actually got a working ELO system in the STPL. One of the things, like, I think ELO is kind of definitely a better way of ranking people than what we had before, so that is certainly something that I want to talk about a little bit more later on. There's a few more things we can go into that with that even, but let's introduce our first couple of players. Okay, so first here we do have NetWars Ziggy. Now, recently I wasn't actually sure who he was, but if my sources are correct and I'm not stupid, I believe that Ziggy is actually a StarCraft 2 pro who's been playing a little bit more Brood War again for NetWars. Maybe Radley can confirm, given the fact he was on NetWars and probably knows all the players there, because it is quite a tight-knit community from what I understand. But Ziggy has won one of his games, lost one of his games. He hasn't played against a Protoss here, so there's not really too much to say about him. And his opponent going to be the man himself. It's Dragon. Now, Dragon is actually 2 for 2 against Terran. He actually sits quite high up in ELO at the moment at 2105. And yeah, so I was correct. Ziggy's a StarCraft 2 pro, but Dragon is through and through a North American Canadian StarCraft 1 Pro. Did, I believe, come second in the Zotac Cup, and it's really cool to hear that Ziggy actually played in the IEM qualifiers. If I remember rightly, Ziggy actually does some writing for TL as well, unless that's a different Ziggy, because he was in chat before and he actually follows me on Twitter. So kind of cool to see Ziggy here against Dragon. Now, what map are they going to be going into? Let's have a look. Holy World SE. Okay, so here we have it. It is Holy World SE. Now, Holy World is a 4-player map with a relatively interesting dynamic. You have those outsider-style bases around the edge of the map. You have a very wide open center with some neutral disruption webs, which make it a little bit harder for those big armies, the big ranged armies, to kind of push through. Makes it a little bit harder for Terran to get over the map. And I do admit I miss Rapid a lot, Cole, as well, so you are not alone. Although I am, so we'll make the best of what we've got here. It is going to be a TBP, should be a lot of fun. We've seen one PBT here so far where YSC did take down the camper from Rev. So let's see if Ziggy can bring a bit of pride here in game number 1 as he goes up against one of North America's best. It's Dragon. Okay, starting us off here in the bottom right hand position, we do have the Purple Protoss fighting for NaS. It's their captain, it's Dragon. And here's his opponent spawning in the top left position.
Hailing frequencies open.
We do have the Red Terran fighting for NetWars. It's Ziggy. And huge thank you, Creative, for the host. Welcome. Hopefully you guys all enjoy the show. Unfortunately, we don't have a red game to cast this week. I think red were on a bye week this week, but yeah, so kind of cool. We got NetWars versus NaS here. This is going to be a very important game in the series, or in the round even, because this game could be the difference between NetWars qualifying for a fourth time into the playoffs, or if they could fall. Now, there is going to be one more play week after this, so it's not fully decided. We can't call it too early. It looks like, unfortunately, Ziggy is going to be building his wall a little bit incorrectly here. If you build the barracks there, you can even see the markings on the ground. You can make a zealot type wall that way, but looks like he's going to be doing a more conventional wall that allows him to micro through. But the problem is, this does mean his units getting out of his base are going to have a few traffic jam problems a little bit later on. Back in the Protoss base, we do have the gateway coming in. You're in the IC Cup NetWars clan. Nice. I didn't even know NetWars were a thing back on IC Cup. Oh, I guess they joined for BWCL, didn't they? The one clan I remember from when I used to play actively on IC Cup was MSJ, because MSJ's players always used to cheese me like crazy amounts. All of them were Protoss, all of them cheesed me. I was lagging every time I played them. And yeah, then they joined my tournament, and then unfortunately, due to inactivity, they had to drop out at the end of round 3. So that's where MSJ have gone, but a lot of their players have found new homes. Dreamer, for instance, their captain, has moved on to Ash along with Radley, and we've just had Darkish get added to Ash as well. So some of the better players from MSJ are kind of moving on. They're finding a new home, and that's always important to do. Okay, so Creative, do you know... Oh, Tefek's in Ash as well. Do you know Polish then, Creative? Like, I didn't know that. I don't know why I always assumed you were German for some reason. And not that German people can't know Polish, it's just... it's kind of rare to find someone with Polish as a second language, but it's kind of cool though. My step family are Russian, so I can't speak Russian, but I hear it all the time. Saying that though, Creative, it's not like there's not enough Polish-speaking people playing Brood War for them to play with. So I guess it also kind of help you as well to practice your Polish, because one of the problems my stepbrother has is my stepbrother was born in Israel. Both his parents were from the Soviet Union, so both of them know fluent Russian. He knows fluent spoken Russian, but he can't really write it or read it very well, because kind of he's never had to do it. Obviously Hebrew is his main language, but looks like we are going to have a little bit of aggression at the beginning. Dragon pushing in, not managing to make a dent in Ziggy's army, so it's going to be a little bit of a break here, but Ziggy actually going for speed first. Now, I have seen this before. You go for a vulture with speed super early on and try and go for a lot of probe kills, but definitely not the most normal build. I mean, mines first is usually a little bit better, but perhaps a little bit of a misclick there by Ziggy. But going back to my story, my stepbrother has a few problems with reading and writing Russian. It's something he needs to practice a little bit more, so I guess being able to practice with Polish people kind of helps that, especially online. Yeah, we got a fast Nexus coming in here for Dragon. That was around 28 supply. Ziggy, I think Ziggy made a mistake with speed first. I think he's probably going to regret this when he first gets his Vulture out and pushes with this FD push. And oh, he's actually going 2-fact. Okay, I completely missed this second factory. I was too busy talking about Russia and loads of other things. But here we go. Looks like we are going to have the second tank coming out here now. We should see him start to go for a lot of vultures. Now this would make sense as why he went speed first. His mines were a little bit delayed though. That is a problem, because when he pushes across, obviously the vultures are going to be able to reinforce a lot faster, but it's going to come down to a lot of micro here. Now speed is going to be very, very important. It's going to allow him to completely run past these dragoons early on. And you can see that how quickly they reinforce here, but looks like Ziggy going to try and do a little bit of early damage here to Dragon, who is trying to fast expand. Now, whether or not this is going to work out for him, I'm not too sure, but we'll have to see. Now, Dragon is obviously in a relatively good position, but he is quite far back compared to where you kind of normally want to be. We have got mines finished, which is going to make this a little bit more difficult to hold on to. And here we go, looks like 3 tanks, 3 vultures coming in, vultures moving in behind, gonna try and lay some mines, stop the units pulling back. Is this gonna be enough? Nice mine placements, gonna force the dragoons into a very awful situation. The probes gonna be going down here to the couple of vultures, but the main fighters at the front, the tanks, have been pulled back a little bit. Probes doing a good amount of damage, but let's actually have a look back in the main. Looks like the probes have cleared up those vultures. And the Dragoons actually doing a really good job cleaning up these tanks. But this is just the beginning. There's going to be a lot of speed vultures heading on over here with a lot of mines. And siege mode is done. Although that siege is a little bit unfortunate there. He's going to lose his first tank. And going to be forced to pull back. But a mine going down on those Dragoons going to take down another one. And Ziggy, his attack is kind of stopped for the moment. Dragon has definitely done a relatively good job of holding on, and now we do have an observer. Things are going to get a little bit harder. He needs to... Oh, the mine drag on the vultures not going off, but looks like the other vultures going to take down yet another dragoon. But the problem is there's no tanks here anymore. And it's going to be vultures against just probes for the time being, and Dragon is taking a lot of damage. Okay, so it looks like Dragon has cleaned up the well, he's not cleaned up the vultures, but he's obviously made things a little bit better. Good thing by Ziggy is he is repairing his vultures. Very, very important to do that at this stage in the game. Looks like Ziggy is still planning on going all in at the moment. No additional command center added just yet. He's going to be building nothing but tanks and hoping to reinforce before the Dragoon count gets too high. But with 3 Dragoons popping out at a time, things are going to get a little bit hairy here. Losing those first 2 tanks, doing a lot of damage now. To Ziggy's army, obviously, but here we go. Looks like the vultures still trying to jostle position. The dragoons have been pulled out. The observer there going to make the mines effectively useless at this stage in the game. Another tank is here, but looks like Dragon is going to try and dive on here. Nice mine placement by Ziggy, but still Dragon very good with his dragoon micro, kills the tank, pulls back once again, and Ziggy is stopped in his tracks. Now we do have Ziggy finally with an SCV here looking to expand, but the important thing to note is because this was a 2-factory play, he had to do critical damage. We didn't necessarily have to, but he is going to put himself quite far behind if he doesn't quite manage to do any more damage than this. Losing all those tanks makes sure pushes a little bit later a lot harder, and obviously he lost a lot of vultures and mines in this exchange as well. Now there is going to be 3 tanks at the front, but obviously they are kind of in the middle of nowhere. This is not going to be too beneficial to be sitting here as soon as Dragon decides to move across this map. But he is going to try and set up a kind of semi-soft contain here and maybe see what he can do. Command center is on the way. We should have an armory coming in as well. There we go. That's one of the other things we're going for 2-fact. You delay your upgrades by quite a bit. But Ziggy's doing what he can do to try and push forward and see if he can break Dragon. He still has 4 tanks. There's going to be a 5th one on the way going past this neutral command center, so that is going to help him a little bit. Dragon, meanwhile, back at home, has not actually opted to go for any additional tech. He's not going for a robo or anything, so we're going to see a shuttle that's going to help him break this position. There's going to be no Goliaths, no turrets here for a while at the very least. So that's something that Ziggy is going to have to watch out for. Now, Dragon still playing very cautious, as this could be a little bit dangerous if Dragon gets all of his Dragoons caught off guard. Here we go, looks like we do have the first shuttle here. Gonna pick up a couple of zealots, gonna go for a zealot bomb. Obviously he's been building nothing but tanks at this point to try and make his way through. Now, he really should unsiege the back tanks to not kill himself with splash, because there we go, another tank does go down. the Dragoon count is slowly going further and further up as well. Okay, so realistically looking at this situation, he's seriously in need of like some Goliaths, some turrets. Every tank that he loses going to put him a little bit further behind. Now obviously Dragon has had 2 Nexuses for quite a while. Looks like his probe production was a little bit lax for a few seconds. But obviously Dragon can just kind of keep ferrying units in here with the shuttle, and here we go. Looks like we are going to have Dragon breaking forward. This could be too many units for Ziggy to hold on to. Looks like Ziggy going to pull back with a few of his tanks, but I mean, this entire army is going down again, and Ziggy is finding himself in an awful position. There's no mines blocking Dragon from pushing forward and kind of, I'd say, almost ending the game at this point. He's got so many units over Ziggy now. But Ziggy's still doing a relatively good job of macroing up behind this. He needs to add on some additional factories, which he's doing now. And he does have the option of taking this 3rd mineral base, taking this 4th gas base as well. So if Ziggy can keep putting on pressure, keep Dragon back, then maybe he still has a shot in this game. Obviously he's going to have to do quite a lot of damage here. Well, he doesn't have to do quite a lot of damage, he just needs to play really greedy at this point. He needs to double expand possibly, or just go for a lot of factories and go all in. Now I was actually playing with, well, I was not playing, I was talking to Scan a couple of months ago, and I was really struggling, and I asked him, like, what do you do when you just feel like you're behind? And he said you've got 2 options. You either, 1, you go further all in than you already are, so you just build a ton of factories, build a ton of units and just go for it, or you play super greedy and then hope that you get away with it. So there's Scan's advice for anyone playing, well, any race really. Obviously it doesn't only affect Terran, but you can see the Dragon is going to try and make use of this extra safe base to double expand, and that's going to be kind of annoying for Ziggy to deal with. Okay, so we got 5 factories before a command center. Honestly, I don't really like this choice. I think it'd be better for Ziggy to just kind of mass expand, but Ziggy is going to play this out how he feels comfortable, and that is obviously the best way you can play Brood War. But he is going to be up against an Arbiter Tribunal. There is going to be a Templar Archives as well. Whether or not Dragon is going to be using Storm is yet to be discovered, but Ziggy is going to find... oh, he's not actually going to see the tech. That's a little bit unfortunate. Going to see the Spinning Forge, but that's not exactly the most concerning thing. Obviously you are going to be going up against upgrades from the Protoss player. Ziggy's +1 still not done. 6th factory is on the way, so this is going to be an all-in by him. He's just going to try and, I would say, probably max out with as many units as he possibly can, and then push across the map with +1 or +2. Now, saying that he was behind before, I mean, he is still technically behind, but one of the things that Flash has taught all Terran players is that even if you're behind, you just play calm, you max out, you push with upgrades, and then somehow you win. I don't know how he does it, but I've watched his like TVP tutorial he did, and I've also watched a load of other games, and he sits there and he's like, stay calm, and then he just goes, just do what I do, and then he goes to win the game. And it's like, huh, okay, well that's a little bit harder for the normal Terran to be doing, but it's still something that is possible. Now, building vultures off of 4 factories means you don't really have that much money to expand, which is why this becomes a little bit more all-in than, say, a 5-fact or a 4-fact. Obviously 4 factories not going to do too much, but here we go. Looks like we are going to have a lot of zealots from Dragon. They're going to have speed relatively soon if they don't already. We actually have 6 factories against, that's 5, 6, 8 gateways now, but it's double Stargate Arbiter. And there's not actually that much anti-air with this army, so Ziggy is going to have to push incredibly carefully, because one wrong move could actually lose him the game here. Now it looks like the Zealots are going to be moving forward. Tanks sieging up a little bit late. These Zealots going to get on top of everything, and I can't see a victory here in this for Ziggy. Tanks are powerful, but when there's this many units from your Protoss opponent, How are you ever going to be able to hold on to that? Looks like Dragon gets another perfect engagement. I didn't even see any blue goo. I don't think the tanks killed anything. And this is where Ziggy is kind of a little bit unfortunate here, because he's going to be up against Arbiters. They're going to have Stasis very soon. He's actually going for Recall, so I don't know if he got Stasis first, but if he did, this is going to be even worse. I think he's going to be able to hold on, at least for the time being. Well, I say that, but Dragon is up nearly 70 supply on his Protoss opponent, or on his Terran opponent right now. And you can see that every single unit that Dragon has is going to be funneled through these locations. Now, the second Arbiter is finally out on the map. The first one should be over by the army somewhere. Have I missed... Where did the other Arbiter go? Oh, here we go. So the first Arbiter here with the army, going to start to sort of see everything that's going on. +1 armor's coming in, so no +2 attack, no science facility or starport as of yet for Ziggy, so I definitely see the odds are against Ziggy here. Dragon going up to a 4th and a 5th base at the same time, double expanding behind his map control, and there's pretty much nothing, unfortunately, that Ziggy can do about this. His tank count has been reset so many times. If Dragon gives Ziggy enough time, then maybe Ziggy can build the ultimate mech force and he can still win. Obviously Ziggy does have the option of expanding behind here, but he is going to try and push forward onto the map, which is a little bit unfortunate, because pushing across the map in this situation is definitely not going to help you. It's definitely going to make things a lot worse for you. You're opening yourself up to a big sort of flank here. Looks like we are going to see that nice mine and a nice couple of tank shots. The first Arbiter gonna go down, but that's a nice ice cube on some of those tanks. Looks like this could be the death blow by Dragon as he pushes in with a huge supply lead. 4 tanks remain at the back, 3 tanks even, and everything is going down. GG! And Dragon takes game number 1. Okay, so, well, game number 1 went pretty well there for Dragon. He held the 2 factory as best he could. Ziggy had a chance, I think, to actually win that game if it had gone into the main a little bit quicker with his vultures and did more damage to the probes. But it's always that unfortunate thing. The split second decisions mean everything in Brood War, and they can be the difference between a push, winning, or losing. And unfortunately the push failed, and Dragon kind of rode that trying to think of the right word. What is the word when you have a lead? Well, he rode the lead all the way to the end. So Dragon getting a good win there in game number 1, and that's going to take us into game number 2 when I get back just after this. See you guys super soon. Hello guys and welcome back to the STPL. We're here for game number 2 of NaS versus Net Wars. Now we're actually going to be heading in to what a lot of people would say is definitely the key match in this series, because it's going to be Zerg versus Boneth. Now that's a really sick series, I'm not going to lie. But we had Zerg versus Boneth before. Let's actually bring up the player history. And I'll explain a little bit on what happened the last time they met, which was in the round 3 playoff finals, or playoff semi-finals. So here we go. Boneth on screen there, one of the highest rated players ELO-wise. And honestly, is an absolute boss. He obviously took a little bit of a break. His stats in the STPL haven't been super impressive. And he actually lost the last time he played against Zerg, so things are not looking good, at least statistically here for Boneth, but he still does have a 61% win rate overall, which is pretty damn impressive. Now, his opponent in the top 10 of ELO, I believe he's actually in one of the top spots actually, is Zerg. Now, the last time Zerg and Boneth met, it was on Icarus in the round 3 semi-finals. And Zerg beat Boneth with a lot of lings within about 5 minutes. Boneth got a little bit cocky, I think, didn't wall properly, tried to wall in with just zealots, the lings broke the zealots, the lings broke the cannons, and the lings won the game. Now, we're actually going to be going into a 2-player map here, which could be a little bit better for Zerg's early game shenanigans. Or will Boneth learn from his mistakes last time as we get into game number 2, and it's going to be on New Bloody Ridge. Okay, so here we have it. We're going to be going into New Bloody Ridge here. It's Boneth versus Zerg, so if you're just tuning in from Boneth's stream, you have come at the perfect time. Huge thank you, Boneth, for that host. And, okay, well that's kind of cool. I hope someone does that challenge, by the way. Russ Brain is really cool. Like, the amount of stuff he does for Brood War and Warcraft 3 is just unimaginable. But 2-player map here, Boneth versus Zerg. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get into game number 2. It's NaS versus Net Wars. Okay, starting us off in the top right-hand position, we do have the man himself. It's the Polish powerhouse. It's Boneth. And down here in the bottom left, we have... I'm trying to think of a good alliteration. We have the Bravado from Belgium. It's Zerg. Okay, so I said before that the last time these guys met were in the semi-finals of round 3, where Zerg took down Boneth super early on with some lings. Now I hope this time we're going to have a game fitting of these two players, both of them incredibly good players. Obviously a lot of skill on both sides. Zerg very nearly won the £1,000 Rust Brain challenge, where not £1,000, $1,000, and Boneth even doing a really good job as well. He was sort of one of the top players in 2017, 2018, and in 2019 he's looking to be a strong player as well. But obviously he's going to be up against one of his old rivals in Zerg in this second game of the set. Now, The reason why I call them old rivals is when I came back to casting properly in 2017, I was casting with Sale. Nearly every tournament ended with either an Eon Zerg Bonneth final, a Bonneth True Touch final, or an Eon Zerg True Touch final. So these two players have got a lot of history. There was a point in time where Bonneth would pretty much kill Eon Zerg with Reavers, then Eon Zerg would kill Bonneth with Lings. I mean, we have got a pull first here by Eon Zerg, so playing a little bit more conservatively, doesn't want to get caught off guard by any super quick early aggression. We did see Bonneth try and go for a two gate a couple of times as well. Bonneth not afraid of going for those one base plays. And my cat behind me is meowing for whatever reason. Okay. Nothing has gone wrong, but obviously we're going to focus on the game for now. We can sort out my wonderful cat afterwards. But we got first cannon coming up here for Bonneth, Nexus coming up as well. Lings are on the way at least here for Eon Zerg, so that's something. And I just really hope that Bonneth doesn't die to the early Lings this time. And I really hope that Eon Zerg wasn't tilted when he played this game, because I've seen a lot of very quick games from Eon Zerg where he either wins or he fails to bust and then gets super tilted and leaves. So I really want to see an epic match here. Definitely the highlight match, at least in namesake, for today. And it looks like, oh wow, using that Overlord to, oh, here we go. Looks like we've got the probes blocking the Lings for now, but this is a good number of Lings already. Another couple of Lings coming through. Bonneth really does need to add another cannon. Looks like Bonneth gonna scout out, see what he can find. Eon Zerg hiding the Lings perfectly there, so Bonneth doesn't know the Lings are coming, actually pressed completely the wrong button, but here we go. Looks like the probe has been broken. The Lings are gonna get into the base again. This is the second time in as many games I've seen Bonneth lose his wall against Eon Zerg, and the probes are taking so much damage. Eon Zerg killing nearly all of the probes from the natural. 2 Lings remain. And GG! Bonneth taps out and Eon Zerg takes another 4-minute game against Bonneth. What the heck are we watching, guys? Why does this keep happening? Why? When are we going to get a long macro game between these two? Are we just destined to never have that? Like, that's an example. You know what? That doesn't even count as a 6-minute curse, because that game was only 3.5 minutes long. Eon Zerg gets a win. That's going to take NaS up 2-0. And we're going to head straight into our third game. Just quickly loading up the overlay and everything to make sure everything is ready. But Eon Zerg's going to be happy with that. NaS is going to be happy with that. If you're just tuning in from Bonneth's stream, I'm actually just going to throw up the group rankings, just to explain why this game is so important for NaS and why it's so important for Net Wars as well, because this is the wrong one. If we look at... I am completely on the... Here we go. Yeah, so while I load this, basically we can have a look here. You can see that NaS are currently undefeated in round 4. There's 2 play weeks left, including this one. If they can go completely undefeated, they're going to make it in.
I dare you.
Huge thank you, Rebel, just for kicks, for the $10 donation. Does mean a hell of a lot. Every bit of support does really help. And Net Wars need this. They have qualified for 3 rounds of playoffs. They came second twice, so they are they're pretty much no stranger to victory. But this round, they lost to IRK. They could lose to NaS here. They may not make it to the playoffs for the first time. And the same thing can be said about White Clan as well, one of our Korean clans here. So I've got the overlay loaded up with the next couple of players, at least I think I have. We're going to be going into Kingpin versus Sugo. Now, 2 of the, I'd like to say, lesser known players for both these teams. Obviously, if you know North American StarCraft, you know who Sugo is. And a lot of people in the Net Wars community, at least, will know who Kingpin is. Kingpin hasn't really achieved too much outside of STPL. He's not really played in too many tournaments, but if we have a look at his stats, we can see that he's got a 37% win rate at the moment. ELO on the lower side. If we have a look at his opponent, going to be Sugo here. 71% win rate. Sugo has been absolutely bossing it. Over 2,000 ELO as well. So, strong player. Sugo statistically has the advantage in this game. But obviously Kingpin can bring it back. Kingpin's been up against some strong players. So has Sugo. Let's see how they're going to do as they get into map number 3. It's going to be Eye of the Storm. Okay, so here we are on Eye of the Storm. Now, I just completely reloaded my page by accident, so if you just said something in chat to me, I did unfortunately miss it. ZVP on here has gone in favor of Protoss so far, with Tim taking down Kingpin and TT1 taking down Mitak. But all is still to play for. It's week 5 of round 4 here. It's Net Wars versus NaS, and if NaS can win this game, they continue their undefeated run as we get into game number 3. Okay, starting us off here in the top left-hand position, we do have the Peach Zerg fighting for Net Wars. It's Kingpin. And his opponent spawning down here in the bottom right in the blue. It's Sugo fighting for NaS. Now, I did mention this before, but NaS are currently on match point here. If they can take this game, they will continue their undefeated streak in the STPL round 4, and they will go 4-0 in their group, which is no mean feat. They're in one of the strongest groups we've had throughout the entire STPL. Obviously, if you are tuning in for the first time, thanks to Bonnet's host, the STPL has actually been going since last March. So there has been a lot of dedication from these players. We've seen a lot of improvement from these players as well. And we've seen a lot of different maps, a lot of different strategies too. So if you have missed any of the games and you do want to check them out, then what you should do is below the stream, you will find a load of links. You can follow the STPL on Twitter. You can subscribe and look at the YouTube as well to see all the previous games. There's been over, I believe, 400 of them overall since the beginning of this STPL. And it's been a very, very fun ride. Usually I cast with Rapid, but he's in Ukraine casting a professional event, so obviously that comes first, and I believe, I hope he's having fun doing that. But I'm here holding down the fort in STPL TV Towers, and hopefully you guys are enjoying the matches as well. So Sugo going to be using a gateway first to open us up here. We're going to have a 12 hatchery coming in from Kingpin into a 12 pool, likely going to have a 12 gas coming up as well. Relatively standard build for him. Now, the big divergence is going to be if Kingpin decides to go for a far hatchery for his third or a close one. Now, if he goes for the close one, we're likely to see more likely a Hydra all in, but obviously if he goes for one of the other naturals, we'll see a longer macro game. Now, we obviously just came off the back of a 4-minute game, so hopefully this one will go on a little bit longer. And then we'll see exactly how the next series is going to go as well, depending on the outcome of this game. So, Sugo doing a good job just scouting around. Not really too much going on early game ZVP, so going to be a case of seeing exactly what both players can be doing with their units. Looks like Kingpin is going to go for a drone scout, or at least going to send his drone down here to build that hatchery. I think he was checking for a proxy as well, just making sure. But this first zealot's going to be able to get into the base completely uncontested, actually. Looks like Kingpin playing a little bit more greedy is going to lose at least a drone here, I would say. But with 4 links coming out, that could be a little bit more difficult. Looks like Sugo going to do his best to kind of micro this Zealot around, but unfortunately doesn't manage to get it behind the minerals. That would have been a very good situation. He was trying to get behind that gas, but looks like Kingpin doing a really good job with his Link Micro, kind of walling that Zealot off from doing any damage to his drones. And that's obviously the big main thing. Now, hey Jealous, long time no see, trapped in sea. I can't believe that's your name, but there we go. Looks like we do have Sugo behind the mineral line, fighting for North America here against his Polish opponent. Does lose his first Zealot, which is obviously a pretty big deal. Looks like Sugo hasn't opted to send another Zealot now. He does have his second Nexus up. Second Zealot back here with the wall. Doesn't want to repeat what just happened to Bonneth because he knows how easily Lings can bust a wall. Now, it looks like Kingpin is going to posture to move forward. No third hatchery on the way just yet. Going to be 2 hatch layer from Kingpin. That's not something you often see. But let's see if the Lings can do any damage. There is only 1 cannon here. There is at least going to be 2 of these Zealots. That's better than you could possibly hope for. And let's see exactly what's going to go on. So, Ling's just camping outside of the natural now, not really able to do any damage. And here we go. Here is that big play from Kingpin. He's going to go into Spire. Now, whether or not that's going to be for Mutas is yet to be decided. There is a very late Stargate coming in. Well, it's not very late. It's kind of late. Stargate by Sugo. No +1 air attack as of yet. So Mutas could actually catch Sugo off guard here. Now Sugo is preparing for this pretty well. He's adding the pylon behind his natural mineral line. This allows him to put some cannons down a little bit later. The second cannon coming in at the front as well. So, I mean, Kingpin is definitely looking to do something a little bit more cheesy. We've got the second gas coming in, so Mutalisks are most likely on the menu. Third hatchery coming in as well. Spire just over halfway done, but that double gas is kind of a dead giveaway. You don't need that much gas for Hydras and Hydra upgrades, and there's not really anything else that you can go for. Technically, Jealous, you could go for 2 hatch Spire and then add the third hatch afterwards. I have seen that. But yeah, it's definitely Mutas coming. And that's something to look out for. Now, Kingpin's doing a really good job of denying any scouting information. Obviously, the first Corsair going to come out and kind of deny that. But +1 attack coming in. Should have a Citadel coming in as well. Second Gateway. We're going to have a Templar Archive starting up pretty soon after. Now, as long as Sugo keeps his Corsairs alive, he should be in a relatively decent position against these Mutas. This is why Mutas are kind of not a common build in ZVP, just because there are quite a lot of answers from Protoss early on. But say, for example, Sugo didn't go for a Stargate opening if he went straight into DTs or something like that. Mutas would obviously do a lot more damage. With Sugo seeing the first Muta gonna pull straight back, cannon going up in the mineral line at the natural, cannon already in the mineral line at the main. No additional Corsairs as of yet, going to add that a little bit later. But Sugo is getting all of the pieces of the puzzle. And that's actually kind of funny to know, Radley. So if anyone's watching this and can't see Radley's chat message, basically he said Kingpin has like a 1-2 curse, so he wins the first game and loses the other ones. Here we go, looks like the Mutas are going to dive into the main, getting the first cannon, the first Corsair actually going down as well. 2 more Corsairs here, +1 attack is not done. So Kingpin is still in a relatively good position against these Corsairs. Another Corsair, a little bit of a way off. A cannon finishes, but Mutalisks don't care about cannons. And here we go, looks like Kingpin going to be doing a lot of damage here in the main base. Could the 1-2 curse be real? The Corsairs coming back in. Can't afford to lose those. Sugo pulls the other one back, but loses one. Another cannon is up in the natural, but Kingpin is happy to stay here in the main, just do as much damage as humanly possible. The Corsairs damage is starting to stack up. It looks like Kingpin being a little bit too stacked here, maybe. Looks like Sugo going to pull back with the Corsairs once more, but Kingpin has done a lot of damage. Every Dragoon that pops out is going down. A third Corsair is on the way, but with 2 Scourge here, that's going to make it a little bit more annoying to deal with. And the Muta is still in the main base. The Dragoon not really going to do too much against these Mutalisks. More Mutas are flooding across the map now. The Muta count is getting higher and higher. The pylon in the main going to go down, possibly even the Nexus. A cannon being added on by this Stargate. Another Corsair coming in. That's going to make it 4. But this +1 attack has finished, so that's something. Double Stargate actually being added on in the natural. But the main Stargate's going to go down. The main gateway is going to go down power-wise. And it's going to be 5 Corsairs against so many Mutalisks right now. And this is the time when you wonder exactly what Sugo's plan is going to be. Kingpin has done the damage he needs to do. And he's going to take down the Cybernetics core. He's going to take down the main Nexus. And somehow this probe is still alive. But here we go. Looks like the Corsair is going to try and move in. Try and do some more damage. But Sugo is currently locked onto one base. And taking his extra, or his main again, is going to be very, very difficult. Third base on the way here for Kingpin. +1 Carapace. Is that on the way? No, he actually did skip +1 Carapace. Going into a Hydralisk Den now. But with no second Stargate, we're starting to see the Templar Archives being added on in the natural, but he only has one gateway to build Templar from. And he's actually supply blocked now, so looks like we are going to have a probe move out, try and maybe sneak an expansion, possibly go for a scout on the third base, but the Stargate going to go down in the main, and Kingpin is in a wonderful, wonderful position. Okay, the Zealots moving forward, going to try and break their way through these links, but obviously the Mutas are just going to come behind this. This is about 1.5 control groups of Mutas, I believe, so 1 and a bit. So we will have a decent number of Corsairs to be able to deal with this. Storm is going to be on the way, but how, I ask, does Sugo take his main base again? That is a question that many people have wondered. Now, the ironic thing is, obviously Sugo is going to be down in tech. Obviously Kingpin is switching into Hydralisk, so the Muta count is going to drop soon. But if Sugo can get a perfect engagement with his gateway unit, or sorry, with his Corsairs, maybe with good storms against the Hydralisk, he can re-expand. But looks like we are going to have the Corsairs moving in. There's a lot of Mutas here stacked up, a lot of them actually badly damaged. Sugo getting a perfect engagement with the Corsairs, kills every single Mutalisk. And suddenly Sugo is the one with at least the tech unit advantage. He's going to move across the map now and see if he can take down all of the Overlords before the Hydras come in. Now he's going to be able to scout the Hydras coming. And the Hydras are going to push the Corsairs back. The Hydras are going to be running into Storm. There's no second gateway, but Sugo is now free to take his main base again. And has Sugo done the near impossible? Can he hold against these Hydralisks? He's building another couple of cannons back at home. The Corsairs still moving in, still looking to find any damage. They're at least going to kill one Overlord over here. There's going to be a couple more Hydralisks coming out, which should help defend. But over here we go. Looks like this is going to be the main story. We've got a lot of Hydralisks moving forward. Only one Storm was available. The first 2 cannons have gone down. Looks like Kingpin may have broken the front now. The second High Templar with the energy does move back to try and storm another day, but a lot of the Overlords even have gone down over on the other side of the map. But the trouble is there's only 1, 2, maybe 3 cannons over here to defend against the Hydralisks that are in the main. Things are not looking good for Sugo right now, and I really, oh, that's a good storm though. That's the storm he needed. That's going to clean up the rest of the Hydralisks, but more are on the way. Oh no, this pylon's going to go down and this gateway is going to be unpowered. He's going to have no way of building additional units that can fight. And GG, Sugo taps out. Kingdom takes game number 3. Takes the series 2-1. Okay, this is the moment I have to announce something incredibly regrettable. Unfortunately, set 4 was a walkover, and it went in favor of NaS. So True Touch didn't turn up for his game for whatever reason. Vilify him, let him know that he should have played, because he would have played against Terra, and that would have been a really sick match. But unfortunately, Dragon did take the walkover, so that is going to be the end of the series. So it's going to be a 3-1 victory for NaS even, so that's going to keep their unbeaten streak going. Now it is really horrible that I have to end the series like that, because it's never good to end a series on a walkover. Like, who wants to see that? I want to see a fourth game. I want to see if maybe True Touch could have beaten Terra, taken it to an ace match. Maybe NetWars could have taken out NaS in the ace match. You just don't know. But unfortunately, on the day, True Touch didn't show up to his game, I believe. I think that's how it went. And that's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. So, yikes. Well, that's going to be a win for Kingdom. Radley's 1-2 curse he said about Kingpin turns out to be entirely true, as he manages to win the first game of the series. And although he did keep NetWars' dreams alive in the series, unfortunately it wasn't meant to be for them. So let's actually just quickly update all of the results. We'll have a look at the winner of the series, and then we'll prepare for Series 2 of today. Obviously we had a relatively quick first series between NaS and NetWars. That was owed pretty much to the to the 4-minute game between Barneth and Eonzerg. So let's have a look at those results. Okay, so results here. We did see Dragon take down Ziggy. That was a relatively quick game. It was like an 18-minute game, I think it was. It was a really cool TVP. Really nice hold by by Bonneth against the 2-fact from Ziggy. So if there's one game of this series I would recommend, if you missed, you go back and watch in the VOD after the cast, it's definitely Dragon vs Ziggy. It was a 6-6 game. Eonzerg took down Bonneth in a 4-minute. I don't know if you can even call that like a battle. It was just kind of Eonzerg making 10 lings, a break in the front wall. So that was a little bit unfortunate. And then Kingpin taking down Sugo, and then unfortunately Terra getting a walkover over True Touch. So as I said, that's unfortunately the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. Obviously there's a lot of things that can go wrong on the day. Maybe True Touch, they couldn't get a replacement for him last minute or anything. So that is going to be the end of our first series of today. But don't go anywhere, because in just over 5 minutes, I'll be back with series number 2. It's going to be Rev versus Psy. No, it's Psy versus VT. No, it is Psy versus Rev. What the hell? No, wait, I think I've typed the wrong name. Yeah, it is Psy versus VT even. I've completely typed the wrong name in the thing. Either way, we'll be back in a few.